real intro. Yes.
A real one?
I think so. We were quiet when it came in. Like, that was perfect. That was perfect introing.
Okay.
That may have been the best intro anyone's ever had on PSVG.
You might be right.
Like, I think that's better than PSVG 5 at least. Like, I'll put my money down that we beat PSVG 5 just now. All right. Welcome, gamers, back to PSVG OT, the number one podcast for being unprepared. And I'm just so glad to be here with these awesome group of people. With us today, we have my brother in arms, Dev. How you doing, brother?
I am doing good. I'm out here chilling in Temecula, down here for a friend's birthday party, and they got me podcasting out here in the wild outdoors. It's cold, but I'm going to push through.
But you look good, and you're wearing a Destiny's hoodie while you do it, which makes it better.
You know, sometimes you got to be flossy.
Yep. Our special guest today is Mr. Steve Waldinger, comic extraordinaire, one of the most specialist comic people I know. Welcome, Steve.
Oh, thank you. I might tear up. That was so awesome.
I practiced that. I wrote it out myself. So yeah, it's good stuff. And because he heard Steve was coming on, he was like, Mo, you got to get me in here with Steve. We got to reunite what used to be the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
The League of Entertaining Gentlemen.
I changed it to extraordinary because it's so extraordinary to have the three of us together with Dev and this whole awesome group. Mr. Nader Tot Thomas. Nate, how you doing, bud?
Oh, I'm just fine. And Dev, you said it was cold, but you're outside in a hoodie. It is 19 degrees here, sir, and there is snow on the ground. So it's not cold where you are. It's just mildly uncomfortable.
Cold is a state of being, and it's cold here. I don't care what you say.
Actually, did you guys know there's no such thing as cold? Like, nothing on this earth produces cold. We only have the absence of heat. You just got science. Yeah,
just got science. Captain Cold's existence has been a lie.
It is. He should have been capped in the absence of heat. So this is PSVG OT, and our podcast is built on telling relational stories, just laughing, crying, having a good time with each other, just celebrating what makes us unique. And the second thing it's based on is being unprepared, which is what we want for our guests. So guys, are you in any way, shape, or form prepared for today?
The answer is this like opposite day? Like, I'm not prepared, but by being not prepared, am I actually prepared to be not prepared?
Oh my goodness, Steve just flipped the script on us on our own show.
Oh crap.
What do we do? Abort. Next show. We need a new plan. Yes, I'm way to go, Steve. I don't know. Yes.
So true.
Cool. Nate, feeling prepped for today, considering you
I've got my mint. So I'm going to be fresh.
Okay, that works for me. Today's story, actually, if you're looking at the title, because Black Panther is coming, we want to talk about our first comic experience. So I'll go first. You guys have time to kind of think of yours. Sorry, I had to pause for coughing.
I just think you got a little choked up when you were thinking about your first comic.
That's what it was. I was about to cry.
Oh my God. One second.
So my first comic experience actually happened in 2014, I believe it was, in Orlando, Florida. My wife and I had just moved from, I remember it was like 2013 or 2012. We had just moved from Montana to Florida. I got a new coaching job, and she had gone down together. And I had this bucket list of things I want to achieve in life. I only have 3 things left. But back then, one of those things I wanted to do is I wanted to go into a comic shop and run around like crazy, just screaming random things, just being really weird. It was something from a joke from high school. And so we're in the mall and we see this comic book shop called Coliseum Comics, and I walk in. I'm like, I'm gonna do it, Lace. This is my first chance. I'm gonna do it. And she's like, no, don't embarrass us. We just moved here. Please don't do this. Let's just go. I'm like, no, this is the day. I gotta do me, babe. So I walk in, and this young lady and gentleman are so polite to me. They're just, hello, sir, and you'll be fine. I'm like, I don't read comics. Okay. Is there anything you're interested in here, or anything we can help you with? No, you can't help me at all. Like, I'm trying to plan my route for yelling and screaming and pandemonium inside the store. They come back up to me and go, Did you watch any of the movies? Like, we'd love to help you find something of interest. I'm like, well, I kind of like the Hulk in the Avenger movie. Oh, okay. Here's the Hulk section. And they take me over here and they hand me, that would have been Indestructible Hulk, would have been that run. Like, it would have been in the middle of that one. And I was infatuated. I sat there and read issue number 4. And then they gave me number 1 and 2 and 3. And then I came back a week later and bought more. Now I'm over 1,000 Hulk comics. And I love them and the stories and everything that happened. So my first experience started from me being an immature idiot and led to being one of those things that helped me connect to students. I bring comics with me, and kids who, when they're hurt or they're sick and they can't work out or play games, they grab from the stack and they read, just so they're doing something, while they're not working out, they're still working out their brain. They're working out that creative juices. And so my first experience started in me being an immature person, but leading into one of the things that I love the most on this planet. Like, it is one of my favorite hobbies. So that was my first comic experience. Steve, as our guest, how about you?
To this day, I've thought about this on more than one occasion, and I can't completely place what came first. If I saw Spider-Man on TV and had to go get the comics, or if I picked up a comic book in a store and fell in love with Spider-Man that way, and then sought him out in whatever other media I could, TV, movies, etc. But is one way or the other. I feel like I saw just because TV is everywhere. I feel like I saw like one of the old Spider-Man cartoons, and that was my gateway into comics. But comics far overtook the cartoons in that regards, because once I discovered comic books, I fell in love with the medium, and there was a little break somewhere along the way, but I've been a consistent comic book reader more or less my whole life.
Man, yeah, that's awesome. Nate, how about you, bud?
My first comic, if I recall correctly, and this is going to come as a shock, I know, was a Star Wars comic.
Gasp!
What? They make those?
No way.
Yeah, that doesn't sound silly.
It was Dark Empire, the first Dark Empire that caught my eye when I was in probably a library or maybe at a store or something. And I saw it and I was like, ooh, it's Star Wars. And there's like animation going on here. There's pictures, there's drawings. I don't really know what comic was at that point. But I just saw that there were cool stuff. Luke had a lightsaber and I wanted to have more Star Wars stories. And I saw the Dark Empire comic. Grabbed it, looked at the cover, thought it was pretty cool looking, and read through it. And to this day, that's one of my favorite comics. I have Dark Empire. I think I have 2 actually printings of it, the graphic novel as well as the Dark Empire 2, not as good. And all kinds of other Star Wars comics started to kind of filter in and build that comic sensation for me. And then I finally branched out into like, the DCs, like the Batman and the Marvels with Spider-Man and Captain America. Iron Man was always my favorite when I was kind of growing up. And when they decided to make an Iron Man movie, I was ecstatic, and everybody else was scratching their heads like, why? I was the only one that was probably running through the streets being like, it's Iron Man, it's going to be great. Yeah. So it all started with Star Wars comics for me, which, again, is a shock to nobody. But it was a gateway into a much larger world.
Awesome. And Dev, your first introduction to comics?
So I'm pretty sure my first introduction to comics came from one of my like older friends just dropping off like a box of comics like at my house or something like that. And I remember going, just flicking through them, not knowing what they were. I think one of them was like The Death of Jean Grey. There was a Batman comic book that was like Batman and the Outsiders or something like that. And just a bunch of just little sporadic comic books here and there. And just reading through them all just sparked my imagination. I was like, wow, what is this? Who are all these characters? It was just insanely interesting, and it just really sparked the love of just like comics and people with powers and just all of that good stuff. So it definitely kickstarted me, and going down that rabbit hole of finding all of the comic book stuff. And I think it was like right before the original animated X-Men cartoon came out on Fox. So it was just like perfect timing.
Nice. All right.
Hold on
now
a
we've
second.
got. Oh,
Hold on. Whenever anybody says the original X-Men cartoon from the 90s, you got to just go.
I don't know what that is. What are you talking about?
Greatest intro ever. That's what it is. That's what we're
Okay.
talking about.
Editor,
all right.
if you can add the X-Men intro, just a little bit of it right here, just so Mo can hear it, that'd be perfect.
I do listen to my own show. I'm actually our biggest fan because I love us. I think
No, you're literally the biggest.
Yeah, I'm the biggest. If we find a bigger one, I can't wait to hang out with them. Size for a minute. So now, without further ado, we'll move into our questions. Unless Dev decides there's a curveball time.
There will be no curveball tonight.
Yes, the crowd goes wild.
Pitches and catches haven't reported yet, so it makes perfect sense.
That's true. Man, you Darvish is a Cub. Now we just need Arrieta to sign. Life's gonna be good. But
hey, I can throw a curveball.
I can't hit a curveball. Save my life. Can't.
But I could throw one.
All right, Dev.
You got it. You got it. Take it, Nate.
Okay. All right. Dev allows it. The curveball is his thing. So, all right, Nate. We're ready. We're ready for the curveball.
All right. I'm going to ask this question because I was thinking of it last time I was listening to OT. And I was like, this is an interesting question. I think it would be cool curveball. So, gentlemen, thinking of the term music, that is something that can be broadly interpreted one way or another. There's many different genres of music out there. Some people consider some of it noise. Some people consider it, why would you listen to that type stuff? But my question is, what do you consider to be the epitome of music? And what do you consider to be noise that other people may groove to? Let's start with you, Mo. I want to hear from you first.
The epitome of music, if you can find it, Nas did an edition of One Mic, acapella. It is one of the most gut-wrenchingly powerful things you'll ever hear. I used to listen to it as my warm-up music before games. We still play it in the locker room before games for when my teams go play. And I've introduced him to my students who, they might not know of him being younger. The noise is I'm not good with like anything pre-95. I'm not good with. Like it doesn't mix with me real good. I don't like the Journey stuff or the Aerosmith, the Guns N' Roses, all that crap. You don't like
Aerosmith?
The Beatles. I don't like any of that stuff.
Oh man,
I'm not
Tyler back in his prime.
I'm not a big fan of like dudes singing in a female tone. I'd rather hear a girl do it.
So no Bee Gees.
Yeah, it's not for me. If I wanted to hear a soprano, I'd like to hear the female soprano who has a better tone than a male tenor trying to hit those notes. I don't mind like rock music when it's done like with passion into it. Back on, I think it was like Halo 2 had a song by Breaking Benjamins. Mm-hmm. And I actually really liked that band, that CD that came out around there. That wasn't a bad album. But yeah, just anything like pre-95, I've tried. I just don't get into it. It's not for me. So that would be my answer.
Okay. I'll allow it. Our special guest, Steve, what do you say?
It's super subjective to me. I'm very open to like all musics. There's definitely music I like less than other music, like country I'm not all that into. But if I listen to like a country station long enough, I'll hear a song or two that I like. So for the most part, there's music I like country is a music I tend to avoid, and like Starbucks jazz, the term that came from Whiplash, that's something else I avoid. But anything I listen to, if I listen to it long enough, I'll catch something inevitably like, oh, hey, that was pretty good. So the epitome of music, that's another tricky one. I want to say I'm defaulting to the Beatles, even though I'm not really that much of a Beatles fan, because it's like they ushered in a whole new era of music when they did their thing. But then you can point out many other people that have done that as well. David Bowie, Michael Jackson, Elvis, etc. So, but I don't know. The Beatles to me seem to be like the era that brought in that, I don't know, that took music to another level. For whatever reason, they're like the bookmark. That's not even the right term, I don't think, but I'm going with it. And I'm going to give a shout out to Nine Inch Nails. They were a big musical influence on me, their early stuff especially.
Okay. Mr. Dev A. Tyus.
So the epitome of music for me is soul. You said you don't like the high-pitched men singing, but Marvin Gaye is amazing. So
See, I don't qualify him in there though. Like I'm talking like the Bee Gees stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Like
it goes up.
but that's not where he lives though.
That's true.
Like if you go up there once, I don't mind if you go to the dance once. I just want you to spend most of your time where you're supposed to be.
Well, Trouble Man, the song Trouble Man, he's
man,
the whole time, and I love that song. That song is amazing. But yeah, so like like classic R&B like that, soul, like your Jill Scotts, the Roots, D'Angelo, stuff like that. It for me is the epitome of music because it's just so smooth. This noise, metal. Any form of metal music in any way, shape, or form for me is just noise. I can't take it. Just about anything else, I will find something that I like and I can get down with. But metal is just one of those where I'm just like, nope.
So no, like
no
kind of music.
None of that. Please stop that.
Okay. What about Korn back in the day? Did you rock out to any Korn?
Absolutely not.
I feel like when I was growing up in like high school and whenever I was in and Korn was big, it was like the big thing in the area. But I don't know if that was just my location or not. But it's like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Korn's so great." I was like, "Yeah, not really."
Yeah, I don't know anybody listening to Korn.
So weird tangent. I used to be a bouncer for a long time in
Korn?
college. No, just a bouncer at clubs. And one time I'm sitting at the front door and I'm doing my thing, not letting people in that aren't supposed to be in. And I hear that barking noise, when you were that stuff. I'm like, man, this is like scary. Like I don't feel comfortable being outside. And so when my shift ended, I went inside and it was a chick. Like it was a girl doing this like gnarly bark. I totally thought it was like this big heavy dude doing it. And I just remember going, respect, not for me. I'm out. As I think their name was like Arch Enemy or something like that. Like they had some weird name. But I just remember it was one of the weirdest things because I just remember walking in and going, huh, did not expect that.
Interesting.
I'm out.
Interesting. So I guess it's my turn to answer this thing. Everyone else is gone. So for me, the noise kind of factor is anything that's auto-tuned. Anything that you listen to and you can tell that it's just not someone's natural voice coming through. That just, to me, it is noise.
No,
it is noise.
No, Roger and Zapp, T-Pain.
T-Pain,
I can't do it.
Now he can actually sing like that. He does that for like an artistic thing. Like,
yeah.
He's got some pipes.
I mean, I would rather listen to them actually sing than do the whole auto-tune thing. If they want to remix it with auto-tune, fine. But give me the actual version where you're belting out those tunes. Because to me, on the flip side, the epitome is when you have harmony. When you have strings and brass talking or working together to create magnificent orchestral music. That, to me, is the epitome of music. And I know I'm the outlier. I'm the odd duck that listens to, show tune type music from like Star Wars soundtracks and Jaws and Williams and Bach and Beethoven. And I listen to all those and I'm that weird guy that listens to that, but I love the harmonies and how everything works together and how even songs that are written so long ago, centuries ago, still sound just so good and so moving that they can take you and transcend any sort of language barriers, any sort of location or culture backgrounds, and just take you to a place that you never thought that you could or would go. And that is just the epitome to me.
You almost make me want to change my answer because I too love classical music. I love orchestral stuff. I listen to a lot of soundtracks as well, but I'm still going with Soul.
I mean,
I like the Moana soundtrack. I thought it was good. Does that count?
I mean, it's okay, I guess.
I thought it was pretty great. Just saying.
Thanks
with you
for
on
letting
that
me
one.
that curveball,
That was a good
gentlemen.
movie.
I was curious because I know I was a weird guy. That's why I wanted to go last, see if anyone had said like orchestral music. Because my one thing I've been really wanting to do, and I haven't done it yet, is go to like I would love to see the Chicago Symphony, London Symphony, Philadelphia Symphony, heck, even my local Peoria Symphony. I want to go to a show for one of those and just be able to listen to it, because listening to it in headphones or in good speakers is one thing, but being there and actually listening to that music as it overwhelms you and comes into the room is just another thing altogether. It's fantastic.
This is why I have jazz records still, because everything sounds better on a record. It's just not. That's all I gotta say. Thank you, Al Green, for all you do. All right, and Lou Rawls. Oh, Lou Rawls is the man. It's Lou Rawls. All right. So our questions this week actually came from another consortium of kids while I was away at a basketball game. So I don't have names. So shout out to 7th period. Appreciate what you guys do. So the first one is, what are you most excited for in the new Black Panther movie? So Steve, Black Panther, 8 days, 7 days, 6 days. How far away are we?
Right now.
Coming soon.
What are you most excited for, bud?
I think the thing I'm most excited for is that it's like the last movie before Infinity War. Because if Infinity War setting off a whole new phase of the Marvel era, and Black Panthers is this super unique stylistic movie that is, simultaneously its own entity, plus it's going to be the final lead-in to this massive, huge event. I mean, we didn't think we could get bigger than the Avengers, but now all of a sudden we're going to have the Avengers, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man, all in a movie. And Black Panther is going to be the movie that leads us into this next era. So I was already excited for Black Panther to begin with, and now even more so that it's going to be the movie to be this gateway.
Nice. Nate, how about you?
So, to be quite honest, aside from Doctor Strange, I know more about Black Panther than I do Doctor Strange, and my level of knowledge is like zero as far as this stuff goes. Because I've always been, like I said, the Iron Man fan, the Cap fan, the more of the mainstream Avengers type people in the Marvel universe for comics. But the actual story and background of Black Panther, as I've learned a little bit more about it, is so interesting and compelling with, the whole Wakanda thing, vibranium, and all that stuff coming from there. And actually, in the comics, wasn't it adamantium originally? And that's where they got that from for Wolverine too, and it all ties in together from that side of things. Steve,
so.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think vibranium is a component of adamantium.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know hardly anything about, obviously, the character Black Panther, and that's what I'm looking forward to finding out most is really kind of diving into that world, how they're going to show it, what they're going to really focus on for wanting us as a viewing public to know. And it just looks really good. Like the trailers that I've seen for it are really cool. And there's a lot of, kind of hype building around it right now too. I haven't read any reviews or anything. I know that there's some out there, but it just really looks like it's going to be another great movie that I'm looking forward to. And, to have one of these in February already is actually pretty cool, because we'll be able to watch this, digest it for a little while, see it a couple more times, and then we'll get to the Infinity War, like Steve said. But Black Panther looks really cool. I want to see more of him from what we saw in Civil War. And it's really cool how I'll have to go back and watch Civil War again to kind of get this brought back in, just like I watched Civil War again before Spider-Man came out. That's kind of like that new jumping off point, I think, is Civil War at this point. So anyway, I'm just excited to get more story, find out more about this character, and really understand more about where it's all headed.
Cool. Dev?
All right. So to quote Dave Chappelle as Clayton Bigsby, how much time you got, buddy?
We got about 40 minutes left.
I mean,
Is that
me?
enough?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll definitely do it. For me, it's honestly Black excellence. Like for so long, like as a Black male, we don't have too many people who look like us as terms of superheroes or the main characters in video games and stuff like that. So finally being able to see one of those that is just like so upfront and just like loud as this is it, you know, it really is exciting to be able to see that, to be able to go see a movie where he's not only, you know, the good guy, but everybody in that movie looks like me. Like you just don't get that from my perspective as a Black male. You just don't see that a lot. So it's really, really exciting to be able to see that and to be able to be such a big event. And the fact that the movie is also getting reviewed and praised as a good movie, not just, you know, a film, just something that's out there. It's getting praised as just being like, this is excellent. This is one of the best Marvel films. It's more than just a Marvel film. Like it's just really, really exciting to be able to see that. So that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about finally being able to have a character in the Marvel universe who is who's going to be universally known that looks like me. That's what I'm excited about.
Quick side question.
Love it.
Have you checked out Black Lightning yet on the CW?
I can't do it.
Why not?
Because it's the CW.
It's the CW. That's
Nah,
honestly,
dude.
you
That's the
have-
reason I don't watch it.
No. Come on. You at least give the first episode a watch. Let me know what you think. Heck, just the first like 15 minutes before the first commercial break. Let me know what you think. If you're not hooked by that first 15 minutes or whatever it is, fine. But at least try it. Dude, I don't know. I was impressed by it.
I've heard nothing but good things about it. I have.
I was impressed by it
Yeah.
enough to do an actual episode of That's Entertaining on it, and I haven't done any CW episodes for that. So it's definitely recommended, especially based on what you said with Black Panther. I think you should check it out. Let me know what you think.
It's
Yeah,
also
I'm getting
DC,
a little CW Tuesday nights.
right? Yeah.
I'm getting a little worn out on all the CW superhero shows, but that one was a breath of fresh air. So yeah, I recommend it as well.
Is it DC or is it Marvel? It's DC, right?
It's DC,
DC.
yeah.
Yes, that's another problem, but
Ah.
we'll save that for another. We'll save that for another conversation.
You gotta give it a chance, man. You gotta give it a chance.
We'll see. I got to
No,
catch
no,
up on Age of the Shield first.
No.
My TV time is
just
very,
watch-
very, very limited.
Watch it on your phone. Watch it on the CW app. It's free.
Oh goodness. So for me, Black Panther is the second most amount of comics I own. It's real close with Black Panther and Miss Marvel. You guys know I absolutely adore Miss Marvel. But I love the character. And the reason I'm so excited for this is more on the comic front, is that a really good character who has some tie-ins with Black Panther is a young man by the name of Amadeus Cho. And so if we put Ami in there, that means we can lead up to maybe Bruce Banner dying by the hand of Hawkeye, which means I now have Totally Awesome Hulk in the MCU. And I'm sorry, I love the Totally Awesome Hulk. Like, I wasn't a huge fan in the beginning, but as far as I am now, dude, I'm hooked. I am hooked on the Totally Awesome Hulk. So I would love to see that happen. So I'm kind of hoping that Ami makes his way in there in some shape or form. Maybe he's working on a computer, or maybe he's doing some work for the Black Panther, helping build something. I don't know that that's going to happen. It's just a really big hope. I said Hulk. Subliminal messaging. Just because, like, in so many of the comics that I've run, those two have had some pretty cool interactions, and they do respect each other for their intelligences. So I would love to see that.
That would be dope.
Yeah. Our next question comes is, what is your favorite bad day beverage? We'll go with our guest, Steve.
Mountain Dew's jumping out at me because if I ever see a late night movie, I always take a Diet Mountain Dew in with me to make sure I stay awake during the movie. So I'm gonna just roll with that and say, oh, I'm having a bad day. I'm gonna go see a movie, cheer me up. Oh, I can only make it to a late night movie. Better bring my Mountain Dew with me.
Nice. Dev?
Definitely like a chocolate shake. Doesn't have to be from anywhere in particular, but Love me a chocolate shake. It just makes everything better.
Nice. Nate?
So it depends on the scenario. Is it a bad day that I caused? Is it a bad day that I had nothing to do with?
The question literally just says, what is your favorite bad day beverage? So we're going to go with 50% self-inflicted, 40% universe, 10% accidental.
All right. I'm going to go with a 100 proof or higher bourbon.
Okay. Mine is normally water with the little grape flavor packet. I love grape everything. I don't do alcohol. Haven't for a long time. I don't drink soda very often. I do love the cranberry sodas that came out for Christmas, where we have some of the cranberry ginger ale still stocked up. I just love cranberry stuff. I don't know. Give me fruits and sodas. I'll sign me up. That's good stuff. So that's mine.
So basically, for you, Mo, it's sugar, water, purple. Got it.
Yeah, you got it. And I'm pretty happy there. we made Kool-Aid the other day, and Lacey was like, "Why are we making this?" So like, because sometimes you need it. All right, just sometimes you need it.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Our next one is, how do you go about dieting / eating right? Nate.
Pass.
Cool. All right, Steve.
I just I've been reading labels a lot more closely. I pay attention a lot to the sugar content in everything I do, and the serving sizes. Serving sizes, I think, are the most important thing, because like you can have, like, for Oreos, for instance, the serving size is two cookies, which is, I think, is pretty generous. You know, if you're eating more than 2 cookies, then that's when you're in trouble. But if you stick to two Oreos, you're good.
Nice. Dev?
Could ever eat 2 Oreos? I'm eating the whole row, if not the whole package.
And milk.
It's taken a lot of willpower for me to stop from doing the whole row to just 2. Sometimes, and I can't totally do 2. I usually do 3, sometimes 4.
Yeah.
I don't like the frosting on Oreos, so I just like the cookie. So then I give the frosting to my wife.
Ooh, Mo, you gotta check out the Oreo thins. I think they're up your alley.
Oh my god, they're so good.
She got me the caramel ones. Those are pretty.
I just tore through a box of those yesterday. The whole thing.
Those are
like
pretty
one
good.
sitting.
Man.
That is not how you did it.
So to answer the question, I don't.
Nice. So I played football at 390 pounds. As a nose tackle, I had to basically go against 2 to 3 other 330 plus pound men. And then when I played overseas and when I played arena ball, just kind of hard to play at. And so my first couple of years teaching Montana, I was still eating to play football. And so I got up to like 400 and some change. Then when we moved from Orlando to here, I kind of realized, like, I can't do certain things. Like, I couldn't run a mile with my kids. I couldn't do a couple. And I was like, how am I going to be a good teacher if I can't do these things? So in my 3 years here, I'm down to 330. So it's almost 95 pounds I've lost. And the key to it is moderation. I've always been able to lift heavy things, but I have to go, yes, my comfort zone is the weight room, but I got to do more cardio. And so just kind of understand this, the same thing when you eat. I love cheese fries. They are my favorite thing. It is potato that is fried with cheese on top of it. That, I'm sorry, that there are a few sentences on this planet as good as that sentence. However, I only get those once a month, and that's my special going out meal. We go to a place, I get some cheese fries, call it a day. But the key is moderation. So again, I've lost, almost 100 pounds. By the end of the year, I'm hoping to be down to about 315. That'll give me, 120 pounds lost, something like that. Really jacked for that. But the key is moderation. So, all right. Next one. What do we think about the Cavs trades? So, Dev, you first, man. I'm sorry. This has been the highlight of the trade deadline. I've been loving it.
Oh my god! If you heard my rant yesterday on Unrated, oh my god! Dude, he traded 6 players. like half the roster gone. Like I don't understand how you're supposed to find your identity as a team and gel when you've traded away half the team.
Now, do you think the fact that the trade deadline was moved in front of the All-Star break, that's the reason they felt okay taking that risk? Because now you've got that 2 weeks, was it a week and a half, 2 weeks off to get together, to work out together, kind of decide like building up that team?
Yeah, probably. And I mean, it's still LeBron. He's taken worse to the finals. So, I mean,
didn't he get Tyronn Lue to the finals as a player?
I mean, yeah, it's funny because they definitely got younger. They got more athletic, and if it can be anything like how LeBron played last night, he got a triple double, his most assists ever, which I think was 15 in a game. If he can actually play what I believe is his natural position as a point guard, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
He's at his best when he's actually, running the show. When he's bringing the ball up, he's finding people, getting people open, and then able to basically score at will. That's when he's at his best. I think he is a natural point guard, and when he plays that way, they're unstoppable.
I've always thought he was more like Magic than he was anybody else.
Yep.
And Magic was a point guard.
Absolutely.
Yep. Steve, how about you?
I'm very far. I used to follow the NBA closely way back when, but I'm kind of far removed from the NBA. I still keep tabs on it. But I did catch some wind of the Cavs trades. And when I heard Dwayne Wade was traded back to the Heat, I think I was like, Dwayne Wade was playing for the Cavs? And then I remembered, okay, yeah, I think I vaguely remember that happening. And then I thought, well, what's going on? Are the Cavs like stinking? Are they having a fire sale here? I mean, they can't. I mean, the Angels did that this year. I mean, they kept Trout, but then they traded everyone else, or because just to build around Trout. So are the Cavs going through a thing like that? And then just check the standings now. They're in third, so they're not doing too bad, but they're not in first. So I think they'll be fine though, and as long as LeBron's there, I think they'll be good.
Yep. Nate, how about you?
I'm even further removed than Steve is from this topic. However, I will generally comment on what I perceive the situation as is these guys are crazy. That's I mean, wow. That's something to talk about. That's something that you wouldn't see coming, that no sane team you think would do. But at the same time, is the ownership actually sane at this point? Is there a guy up there who's like 97 years old and like, let's get ahead and do it? What's happening? I don't know. But I feel like the Cavs are not going to have a great year. It's going to be, I think the Thighs have it this year. Thighs are going to win.
Okay. So I personally, I thought this was the best set of trades that I've seen a GM make in one day in years. What you did was you got younger, faster, and you got more people who will listen. Dwayne Wade's defensive game is not changing. He's not going to hustle out to guard anybody on the perimeter. He's not going to fight through a screen. He's going to play the way Dwayne's played his whole career. He's going to play slow ball. When he sees something, he's going to poke check it and take that ball away from somebody. He's not going to D up. Dwayne Wade is not a defender. Every guy they got rid of was somebody who wasn't helping the team. Every guy they brought in has an amazing special set of skills, a good contract that helps them stay younger longer, and gave LeBron an entire cast of studs. Now, when Larry Nance Jr. comes off the bench, you're going to get 3 dunks in 4 minutes, and they're all going to be highlights. When George Hill comes in for Kyle Korver, you've still got a 3-point shooter who is deadly. That team got good fast. I loved every trade they made. I just don't know how they did it. And I don't know how everyone in the NBA was like, yeah, I'll make this deal. Oh, you want to wait till when to do it? Okay, I guess we'll wait till right before the trade deadline. And then every team sitting there going, crap, we just gave LeBron more pieces. And so I love what they did. I thought it was one of the best strokes I've seen a GM make in a long time.
Well, you realize that the trades were on the West, like teams from the Western Conference. So it wasn't the East Coast teams.
Yep, they stayed far away from the East Coast.
they were smart to go after the Lakers because they were trying to get rid of expiring contracts. So
Mm-hmm.
for the Lakers, it was just a salary dump. Sacramento with George Hill, they wasn't doing a thing. So it's like, well, whatever, you know. So,
Yep.
Quick question: is there any reason why the deadline was moved up? Because when I always remember the deadline being like, after the All-Star break, but this year it was. Like,
this was a first year thing. I really don't know why they did it this way.
I don't know why they did it.
This was different. This was different. So.
I was so confused when I saw. I was like, "Wait, the trailer is now? Is this All-Star weekend? I thought it was next." I was so confused.
So, our next question is: what sport do you think will last another 100 years from now? And so I think what our student wanted to know was like, if you're looking at professional sports right now, what sport do you think is still going to be in existence when we get into the year 2021, whatever we're in? Long time from now.
2118.
Yeah, that
2118 is the year we're looking ahead to.
Mm-hmm. So 2118, what sport is still going strong? We'll go with Steve.
I'm going to go baseball. It's the I believe it's the oldest of the sports, so I think it's going to stand the test of time. Even though I think it was boring people back then, it's boring people back now. I think it's still going to stick around. It's the national pastime. It's my favorite sport to watch, so because of that, it's going to stick around.
Cool. Nate?
I don't know if you guys have noticed the trajectory of curling as of late.
Oh, God.
The upward momentum that they have in curling so far is moving at such a rate that by the year 2118, it will surpass all other sports, and it will be the sport that everybody talks about. We'll all be wearing curling jackets for our favorite curler. Is that the right thing? And then we'll all be buying some branded sweepers for sweeping out the garages if we even have them. Then I don't know. So it's going to be curling, you guys, right here, right now.
Yes.
Telling you this is PSVG OT 16. I'm telling the future this was going to happen.
All right, Dev.
Now, while curling is absolutely fantastic, and it is one of the greatest sports to watch on TV.
Thank you for
the correct answer. The correct answer is actually esports, because all sports will be esports in 2118, because we won't need to use our bodies.
Okay. So I've actually had the longest time to think about this, and I've flip-flopped on my answer a couple times. But what I feel in my heart is true. Right now, I don't think baseball lasts another 25 years. And the reason why is it's really hard to get kids playing baseball in big cities. It is ridiculously hard. There's not a lot of space. You need 9 people to play. You need 18 if you're going to play right. Baseball is tough. I also don't think football is going to make it. I think with the way the concussions are going, the way things are being talked about, the way the players are leaving, really good football players aren't playing football anymore. There was a tremendous athlete who played running back for a school here in San Antonio. He was given Division I scholarships all over. He gave up football and he would be playing basketball at Division II school instead. I think this is going to be something that's going to keep happening. The sport that I actually think is going to still be around in 100 years is actually lacrosse. Lacrosse gives us the action that hockey gives us. It gives us the contact that football gives us. It gives us more players, more people to cheer for. And the work ethic in lacrosse is very similar. The action is very similar. And I think when people start seeing lacrosse played, right now lacrosse is an Ivy League game. That's who's really good at it. We brought lacrosse to our campus 3 years ago. We were the first school to do it for our district. And when my kids who had never played lacrosse the first year went and played against these teams, we got throttled. But the next year, we laid waste to those kids because my kids are faster. My kids are stronger. My kids can do things that those kids had never even dreamed of. And so I think it's a sport, even though like I'm not a diehard fan, I see what it has to offer. And I think that if the right people start playing it, it can become a big thing. So that's the one I'm going to go with.
I applaud you. I'm part Native American. One of my neighboring tribes, I'm part of the Seneca Nation of Indians. The Iroquois tribe played lacrosse way back when, and I would love to see lacrosse take the national spotlight. So
yeah, it's a crazy game, really really good. So, all right, next question. How do you afford to buy games, and what is your method for doing so? I already know what kid asked this one. I'm pretty sure this is Trevor. Trevor, you're an idiot. So, Dev, how do you afford to buy games, and what is your method?
I put them on my credit card and call it a day. There's no just affording to. It's just like, I think I want this game. I have a job. I'm a working individual. I'm going to buy this game. That's really it.
Steve, how about you?
I'm not much of a gamer now, but I'm going to default to back when I was a gamer. It was a combination of saving up to buy the right games, asking for lots of games for birthdays and Christmas, and then trading in games that I no longer play.
Nice. And Nate?
So last year, my answer would have been, I see it, I want it, I buy it, I might not even play it. It's probably still in the wrapper. I'll never launch the digital game. I'll go back and play a game I've already played. But
that's still my answer.
But this year, since the birth of my son in December, things have changed as far as the priorities go. So I won't be buying any games this year for budgetary reasons. So I'll be avoiding a lot of the financial burden that way. However, there have been some fantastic, gracious, amazing individuals that have decided to gift me games before, and that's been awesome because it keeps me kind of able to play with them, see what's hot, see what's new, see what they're going on and doing. But that's that.
All right. So the reason I'm pretty sure this is Trevor is because my kids think the way I do it is crazy, but there's a method to it. What I do is I literally will buy any game. I don't make if I see something I think, oh, I would like to play that, then I get it. Once I start playing something, if I don't like it or enjoy it, I trade it in. I don't hold on to it. I don't sit and go, well, I spent $60 on it. I'm only going to get 25 from it at GameStop. No. I trade it in. And what that does is it gets me out of experiences I don't want to be in. For example, I bought that Metal Gear Solid 5-1 at launch. We talked about that. I got the collection edition. I traded that game in within 3 days. Nope, not for me. And the reason I do it that way is because that trade credit turns into more games. It helps me out that way. I also buy games only where they're cheapest. So if I get a better deal at GameStop, then I buy it there. If I get a better deal at Best Buy, I go there. If I get a better deal at Amazon, I always check all three before I purchase. So, example, Dragon Quest Builders came out for the Switch. I picked that up, or my wife picked it up for me on Friday. I call her and I go, hey, it's going to be cheaper at Best Buy. Will you pick it up? Yep, I got you. She goes in, picks it up, and gets it for $3 cheaper than I would have got it at GameStop. Works out perfect. And that's just the reason I do it. And so my kids make fun of me because if I see something I want, I'm like, why don't you just buy it on Amazon right now? I'm like, because I had to go check Best Buy and GameStop and find it cheap. I always make sure I check all three. So I think that's what they're trying to do. That's because they think they're funny. All right. And this one I added just because I knew we were going to talk about comics a little bit. We're going to ask your favorite comic and why. And we're also going to add, do you actually still read comics? So, Steve, favorite comic, why? And do you still read comics?
Yes, I still read comics. Favorite comic, I'm going to give two answers. I think probably my all-time favorite comic is The Amazing Spider-Man, just because Spider-Man's what got me into comics, and he'll always and forever be in my heart. But my current favorite comic is The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. It's just so much fun to read. It gives me so much entertainment. In addition to it's got great art. It's very funny. They even have bonus little jokes on the bottom of the page written in tiny letters that are just add that much more excitement to it. So yeah, it's just my monthly delight. It's like, yay, new Squirrel Girl. Read. Can't wait for the next one.
Nice. All right, Nate.
You muted yourself.
Oh, my bad.
There you go. Let's try that again. Nate.
I was just gonna say let Dev go before me.
So, Dev?
So my favorite comic book is actually The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yay!
This has always been my favorite. I love Spider-Man. He interacts with so many other characters that it just makes it just you really see the universe when you're reading a Spider-Man comic book, because it could be the Fantastic Four, it could be Silver Surfer, it could be the X-Men, it could be just intergalactic people, because he just interacts with everybody. So that's always been my favorite comic book. Do I still read them? Yeah, from time to time. I like to get like the compendium. So when they've finished a run, I like to just get them all. So it's kind of like, binging a Netflix show. I like to just get them all in one pack. That way I'm not sitting there waiting week to week for comic books, which drives me nuts. I just like when I watch, like, for example, Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I wait till the season's over and just binge it. I can't deal with the waiting week to week anymore. I'll wait till a season is done and then watch it all in one take.
Nice. We lost Nate, so I guess I'll go. He's got his hand up.
Is he going to pull something out of
this
the rack?
doesn't make for good podcasting. So I'm just going to go. It feels natural for me to just go. So we all know my favorite's probably, the Hulk in some way, shape, or form. But right now, my favorite run that I'm reading is the She-Hulk stuff. I think that they've done an incredible job making her more relatable as far as a character and going through. So the first couple issues when she was just known as Hulk, they were talking about how she was basically going through postpartum depression from Banner dying and her getting beaten up. And it led to just this really intense story of what was inside of her and how she was coping and dealing with it. And I really found that intriguing. It was just some powerful writing. Yes, I still read comics. My kids know that. I've got a stack that are at school. We have a good time going through those. The only ones that don't go to school are my big three. No Hulk, no Miss Marvel, and no Black Panther. So, all right, Nate, how about you?
So I was looking for one very special comic that I have. I know where it is. It's in one of my long boxes, and I couldn't get to it in the time allotted. But it is a very good comic book. It's very dear to my heart. It is George W. Bush, The Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, I know the guy that wrote that.
Yeah, that was actually a Stephen Waldinger comic. It's really good. But by the way, my second choice would be Secret Wars, the original.
Yeah, those are good. Yeah.
So this made me really love the Marvel series is when they did the Secret Wars, because it was so cool. Just the way how everything flows together, all the heroes and all the villains really kind of making those appearances and showing up. And it was really cool. That first kind of team up, this big team up event that I ever was exposed to. But yeah, still go back. I have a Secret Wars that they released a few years ago, and I have some of the newer stuff they've done for Secret Wars for the redo. But nothing has been quite as good as the original Secret Wars.
Nice. I'm glad we got to talk about Steve and his awesome comic skills. We need to make sure we do that at the end. Actually, you know what? Here's what's going to happen. Gamers, thank you guys for listening. We love you so much. We are so appreciative for you taking your time out. We are so grateful for you listening to the show. So I'm going to do this a little different. We're going to say our goodbyes. We're going to say what we're working on. We're going to say where you can find us. And then I have actually a surprise at the end for Nate, Dev, that Steve and I are going to do. And so if you are not a comic fan, let's say that you're listening to this and you love the OT for the stories, you love the OT for the goofiness, you love the OT for the unpreparedness, then once you hear those goodbyes, you can just delete this bad boy. You can just go. But if you want some more comic fun, listen to the last couple minutes, okay? So as we normally do to wrap up, Nate, where can people find you? What have you been working on? Anything coming out new on the PSVG train?
People can find me if they want to for some strange reason on Twitter. I am at Voiced by Nathan there. On Xbox, I'm Spider Jedi. Have I been working on anything? Just been working on a lot of work and a lot of child raising, kind of getting acclimated to that. So nothing as far as writing anything out for the sites. But the latest episode of That's Entertaining posted, and we did, like I mentioned earlier, Black Panther. I'm sorry, Black Lightning. And then next week we will be doing next month. Yeah, next week. This week. Whatever. we'll be doing Black Panther. Which, by the way, you guys, just as a little tangent, this is the 10th anniversary of Marvel films in 2018. For the, Iron Man came out to start this whole thing off 10 years ago, 2008. We didn't even have like Android phones in 2008 when Iron Man came out. There's been 18 Marvel Cinematic movies, Black Panther will be the 18th Marvel Cinematic movie. So just kind of take a minute to digest that. It's been 10 years. A lot of people have kind of grown up with these Marvel movies, and it's their childhood now, like completely. For us, it was really cool just to kind of see them finally make comic book movies that were good. But yeah, just something to think about. That's all. That's all I got.
Cool. Steve, where can people find you in your awesome comics?
Oh, I am I'm both on Twitter and Instagram at Steve Waldinger. That's SteveWaldinGer. Really quick, just because it was mentioned, here is the cover to George W. Bush, Vampire Hunter. I had a copy on my bag. I also do a thing called Comic Prov. You can see that here. My partner and I, Lady Beaver, we make live on the spot improvised comics. We do them in reverse. So she'll draw the comic without me knowing what she's going to draw, and then I fill in the words without her knowing what I'm going to write. If you can check out our website for more information on that. The website is comicprov.com, comicprov.com, which also, that word right there. If anyone in Southern California is watching, tomorrow we'll actually be at the UCB Comics and Arts Show at UCB Sunset at 1 o'clock. So yeah, come on by and see some cool art and some cool comics. Come say hi.
All right. And my dude, Dev.
You can find me on the Twitters at DevATius. You can find me here every week as one half of the OT. You can also find me on the Unrated podcast, which usually drops on Saturdays. Other than that, I'm not currently working on anything for PSVG. Looking to get into some stuff, just finally wrapping up all of the outside life stuff so I can actually get back into it.
Awesome. So for me, you guys know I've been working on a pretty large piece. I just had my last interview with a doctoral candidate up from Toronto. She was very, very helpful on me clearing up a couple ideas. That was yesterday. I took a lot of notes. I pumped it in there. I have a couple quotes from her. I'm sending it back up for her to proof and say, yes, I'm okay with using this quote. And my stuff should be submitted in the next week or so. So I'm very excited to finally roll out that large piece that I've been working on for the last couple months. And then I'm also working on a review for Monster Hunter that I've actually put in way more time into that game than I thought I would. And I also have a review for Celeste. However, I believe Jason over at Flex2Pose and the PSVG Nintendo Shack, and Seth over at it's not Morning Gamer anymore. Didn't they switch it to something new?
I think they're doing what is it called? The PlayStation Experience?
Something like that. Yeah. So I think those two are gonna do one. So I might hold off on mine because my review for Celeste, I was rating it somewhere in the 70s, and I think they're a little higher. So I think I'll let them do their thing, and then I'll just throw in a quick note of how I viewed it as well. So that's it for us. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Remember, if you want to hear some more comic stuff, there's something coming up after this. If you're good, you had a great time, we love you, you can just hit delete as soon as I say the magic words. So thank you for listening to PSVG OT, and that's game over. 4, 3, 2. And it's the second OT. The second OT is here now. The moment Nate told me we were playing PUBG about a couple hours ago, and he goes, "Oh, Steve's gonna be on. Let me get on there." And I go, "Cool." And I was like, "Oh, I have to get off to go set up the show." And he was like, "Dude, you've got time." And I was like, "No, I have to." What I actually had to do was I had to text Steve and ask him to bring something to today. And so what I asked him to bring was a long time ago when I was first cutting my teeth on podcasting. I was on this show called That's Entertaining, which then turned into the League of Entertaining Gentlemen. And we were talking about comics, and I would be like, "The Hulk is the best. He's the man. I love the Hulk." And everybody else was like, "There are other comics. You should try something else." And one day we got this idea to do a fantasy draft with comic book characters and building our teams. And so, Dev, as you had no idea I was going to do this, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. Dev, you are actually going to be the deciding factor right here, right now, on whose team would be the victor. So,
but he can't know whose team is what.
He's not going to do that. So what I'm going to have Steve do, Steve is going to list out the teams without telling you the names. Okay. I want you are allowed to think about it and ask questions. So if you ask questions on why would someone pick this character, or what does this character do, we will do our best to answer it, without giving away that they're on our team. But you're going to pick in the battle for the universe whose fantasy drafted comic team will be the victor, and we will know tonight whether it was my team, Steve's team, or Nate's team. So, Steve, are you ready to list these teams off?
I have a partial list ready to go right this second. I'm looking for the definitive list that I hope I have, but I might possibly not.
At the end of the day, a partial list is still better than no list.
Yep.
That's science.
Science!
Yeah, give me just a moment. While I'm scroll here, desperately hoping to find this list that I'm hoping is here. While I scroll, though, I did forget to mention I'm writing some articles. So far, it's been a monthly thing. If I get a chance, I'll try and do it more frequently. But I've been writing some articles for this website you guys might be familiar with called that'sentertaining.net. Yeah, there's been a lot of fun so far.
Yeah,
I just posted
I was on there the other day and read one of those articles and went ahead and was leaving some nice comments.
Oh, well, thank you. Okay. Let's see. Might have to go with the partial list, I regret to say.
It's all right.
If we
I
can
trust
edit
it
this out, I can maybe see if I have it somewhere. I know Steve was the scribe.
He was a scribe.
Yeah, I switched over from paper to digital and I think somewhere along the way something happened there.
Here's the thing. We have an excellent editor in our dude Tyler, and I think he actually listens compared to the last editor. I think our last editor only listened when we texted him and said, "Hey, at the 1 hour mark, somebody may have swore. Like, we just want to let you know now." Like, our last editor, I'm not trying to say any names, Kevin, wasn't actually listening to the OT until after he was like, "Oh man, that was a good show." And I'm like, "Wouldn't you know this when you edited it? Like, doesn't that seem like common sense?" Then he's like, "Man, I edit 75 shows a week," and and he gets all angry. And so now we have Tyler, and when Tyler edits, he does it from a place of joy and happiness and rainbows and dog treats. So this is a good time for me and Deb just talk about just normal stuff while they look stuff up.
The last one I have has the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles being drafted.
That's not a complete draft, but you know what? Let's roll with it.
Yeah, let's roll with that because that's a little further than the one I have. I can fill in some blanks. I remember.
No, wait, I have the rest of them too, actually.
Oh, there we go.
The last one I have has Sentry, The One Above All, and The Source.
That's it. That's everything.
Yep, that's it. All right, so Nate will be reading them off.
Thank you, Nate. Lifesaver.
All right. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to try to read these off in a way that you can understand what they all say. So Optimus Prime, Wonder Woman.
And so we're crossing streams here. We're going.
We're going.
Oh no!
listen.
This was a large pool.
This
was one of the most fun fantasy drafts I've ever had.
And we did this auction style.
Yep.
So we started with I think it was $100 budget.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow!
And
it was 3 rounds.
Yep, it was great.
And we picked 3 each time. Okay, so I think I have these in a satisfactory understanding now. So I will read the first team: Spider-Man, Superman, Wonder Woman, Optimus Prime, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ms. Marvel, Galactus, Thor, the One Above All.
What? I've never heard who that is.
that's basically God.
Yeah,
just a really
like Marvel
simple-
Universe God.
Marvel God, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's team 1. Okay, so you got that in your mind.
I got it written down. I'm taking notes.
Team 2: Hulk, Professor X, Rey from Star Wars, Darkseid, Skywalker, which must be Luke Skywalker? Yeah, Luke Skywalker. X-23, and Squirrel Girl, Spider-Woman / Spider-Gwen,
Oh, Spider-Man. Okay.
and Sentry.
Who is Sentry?
Sentry, wildly considered one of the most powerful of the like super great. What he wouldn't
His
he
tagline was he has the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
basically like Marvel's Superman.
Okay, so it's not Sentry, Sentry.
That's it. Yeah, Sentry.
Okay. So that was Mo's team.
So are you ready for the third team?
Yeah.
Darth Vader,
Was that a first round draft pick?
Batman, Iron Man, Wolverine, Emperor Palpatine, Thanos, Phoenix, let's see, Yoda, and the Source.
Who's the Source?
DC
Source
version of the Almighty One.
Yep, he's basically DC's god.
Okay. So just, based on the fact that we've got the Source and the One Above All on 2 different teams, I'm sorry, but team 2, you've been eliminated.
Timeout. Well, Centurion's pretty close.
You said pretty close. That's a problem because if it ain't the One Above All, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And while Team 2 had some great picks when you've got, Hulk and Darkseid and Professor X, that's a good team right there. The rest of them, they're cool. And Team 3, you've got Vader, Thanos, Phoenix, and the Source. That's pretty badass. But dude, you got Superman, Wonder Woman, the One Above All, and Galactus. That's kind of cheating. So I'm gonna have to go with Team 1.
Yeah,
man, that's a pretty badass team right there. Team 1, I'm gonna have to give the crown.
Steve, congratulations, sir.
Except for me. Me am the champion.
Yep.
Me am the champion. Me am the champion.
Yeah, see.
Now, I think it's important to note that it's Galactus without his herald. It's just Galactus.
It's true.
Even still, Team 2 and Team 3 have way too many just humans. I'm sorry. You can be, someone wielding the Force, but you're in the end of it.
See,
Spider-Man.
the reason I picked my team the way I picked them was I canceled out a lot of their guys but they don't have a lot of people who cancel out the 2 that I had to keep.
But
my number 1, number 2 are pretty tough to cancel out. It's really
absolutely
hard to cancel out Professor X.
Professor X and Hulk, yeah, they're pretty impossible to cancel out. But the problem is they both selected God on their team.
Yeah,
Like that's kind of cheating.
So that's true.
But
that was some shrewd moves by Nate because Nate actually ran out of money before either of us. He had
$1. $2 left.
Yeah, and he threw out the one. He threw out the one above all. And I bid my last money on the one above all, and then Nate threw out the source and a couple others, I think, towards the end there that boosted his team up.
Yeah, Phoenix and Thanos. I mean, yeah.
I mean, so I would say Thanos takes out Galactus, maybe with some help from Phoenix, but I have Batman in there who is the ultimate tactician.
See, Batman loses the X-23. That's why she was picked.
No, but Batman has the ultimate tactical ability, so he'd outsmart anyone else on this map.
I'm sorry, no.
X-23 is Wolverine, but younger, faster, and stronger.
All right, Batman paired with
problem.
As far as strategic thinking.
This is just a fight, man. He doesn't have time to make a plan.
Batman's always got time to make a plan.
And saying, "Hey, good luck."
Batman always has time to make a plan. What are you talking about?
Here's the problem with that. Batman is getting his ass kicked by Thor. He's getting his ass kicked by Superman. If the Superman decides to just not be a pansy and not be Clark Kent and basically just eliminate Batman from across the world if he wants to.
No, Yoda's over there. He's protecting Batman.
Yoda's doing nothing. Yoda is getting pimp slapped by Superman.
That's actually so. My Luke takes out his Vader, and my Rey takes out his Yoda. It's a fact.
No, Rey does not take out Yoda. That is.
We don't even know the extent of Rey's powers or what.
That's why I picked Rey so high. Rey is the truth.
I'd have to give Yoda over Rey, but ultimately, all of those people don't even matter in this fight.
Yeah, we're already dead.
I mean, Phoenix though.
Hulk's still
Phoenix
alive.
has like one of the highest levels of Marvel power ability, I believe.
She does. She absolutely does. Phoenix is very, very high rated, but I still feel like
there's 2 gods on the table, guys.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, because I thought we went pretty high with our cosmic level when we got to Galactus and Phoenix, and then Nate decided to bring in the source and the one above all. So I couldn't let him have both. I had to take one of them.
Yeah. See, and those are old pools. I didn't even know those people were. Like, I thought when I pulled out Sentry, and I was like, I just pulled out like the strongest of the strong superheroes. Like,
why did nobody take Dr. Manhattan?
We actually had that debate. Like, he was brought up.
I feel like he is up there with the one above all. And
no,
so,
no, he's not.
And what they're doing with the I have to look at the title of it really quick. The Doomsday Clock right now. They basically set up that Manhattan is kind of like a god type because he's basically like he's been messing around with the universe. He caused the DC rebirth. So yeah, he's probably a tier below them, but he's very, very high up there in terms of power.
Yeah, he can create life. He can take life away. He put himself back together. I mean, at a molecular level, that's
the blue guy, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much going to take apart anybody on any of those teams. It's not the one above all of the source.
Yep. Wish I would have been known more DC stuff. I was at a slight disadvantage. But I went in hard. I was like, man, I just want to draft like 10 Hulks. That was my original plan. But they drove me up price wise on the first one that I just stayed away. that was messed up. I just want to point that out. I was super nice to everybody else. Although I do have the unbeatable Squirrel Girl on my team.
She single-handedly
beat Thanos.
Yep.
I just want to point that out.
And Galactus.
So my Squirrel Girl takes those 2 out.
Yeah, but the rest of
who knows what else she does?
She ain't beating God.
No. But maybe her and Hulk, maybe? I don't know. No, probably not. We already declared a winner. I don't know why we're still talking about this.
Because it's fun.
It is.
Because it's fun.
If we have a minute, another thing we did, which we can actually have Dev do, is the precursor to this was we picked a team of 5. We called it like our All-Star Avengers, where we picked any 5 characters from any universe. no questions asked, no budget. We could have the same characters if we wanted. And so we picked any 5 heroes from any universes we want, and we then picked 2 villains. I don't remember all the teams, but I remember Mo had 3 different Hulks on his team.
I did.
Yeah, you had Amadeus, Banner, and who was the other one? You remember?
I had Amadeus, Banner. Oh, and I think I had the Indestructible Hulk because he's separate. He's not with Banner anymore.
Or did you have Dark Green Hulk?
Indestructible, like teachable Hulk?
No. So there's a storyline where Banner and Hulk break apart, and they're in separate bodies. And the Indestructible Hulk's like looking for home. He's looking for a place to live without being attacked. And so that was my third Hulk. Now my villain was the best villain of all time. Nobody's ever had a better villain than me.
And who's that?
Batman.
Batman as a villain is a great villain. I have
Right.
to give you that.
Imagine Batman with that money and that time to plan out what he was going to do to the world. And so I made him my Batman. He was my bad guy with Thanos and Galactus working underside him, or was it Thanos and Darkseid?
You did
Or his
Thanos
minions.
Thanos and Darkseid.
Yeah, Thanos
Oh,
and
I thought for
Darkseid.
some reason you had Carnage in there too somewhere as like a underling or something. Like
That might have been. Yeah, it sounds about right. That was a good team. Good team.
So yeah, Deb, do you want to pick any 5 heroes, and then you pick 2 villains for them to fight?
Yeah.
Oh man. Let's see. Any 5 heroes. Let's go with Thor, Spider-Man, Professor X. Just regular old Hulk. And Superman.
Nice.
And who's their villain?
They're gonna go against Dr. Manhattan and Batman.
Okay.
Oh.
I see you, man. Ooh,
Yeah,
I like
It's a
it.
strong team. You got a nice balance there.
That's gonna be a good story. I don't care which. I'm ready to read that one.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get in that book. So, all right. Well, that is the end of our comic part of this. Steve has been declared the champ. He will now be champion over me and Nate. Me and Nate have been kicked to the side. But again, thank you guys for anybody who stayed along for this part. This was something that I wanted to do for Nate. Basically, Nate put out this really sweet thing on Twitter. He was just saying how proud he was of me and how far I've come in doing this. And when I saw this opportunity, I was like, I just wanted to do one more little thing, because had Nate not gotten me on That's Entertaining, I would have never even attempted to reach out to PSVG. And so thank you so much, brother. I'm so glad you chimed in tonight, and I'm so glad you're here. And yeah, so again, thank you guys so much for listening, and that's game over.